I've always resonated more with the OG YouTubers, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, as compared to the modern fast-paced, screaming fast cuts, flashes and bangs every 2-second YouTubers. I've always wanted to make a draw my life video. But since this is an old trend and I'm technically a new YouTuber, welcome to my brand new series, Modern YouTube, Modern Video Ideas. The brilliance of my new series is I can recreate old videos that I've always wanted to create without actually thinking of new content for you guys. Without breaking my head, I can just copy old content. How this works is I can use Google Images, I can use AI, I can use old pictures of me to basically paint my life for you guys. Okay, enough waffle, let's just begin. It all began on 25th August 1999 when my handsome young dad and sometimes anger-issued beautiful mom were greeted at their doorstep in Kuwait by a crane who left them a beautiful brown-eyed caramelized brown skin, cute as can be, small little bebe named Clayton Kevin Rodriguez. That's me, Liquid Courage. For my younger audience, this is how babies are made. I was a very light baby, just weighing in at a very light 3.9 kgs. Fun fact, as I was born, my dad met with an accident and was in the police station. This man who says he loves me dearly didn't even meet me as I was born. Now apparently when I was born, I was in the womb and I had a complication where the water bag broke and all the water went out, so I was just left to dry inside the womb. So when I was born, I did not cry. Because crying is for the weak, irrespective that I was definitely almost dead at this point. After having an almost very long hearty vacation in an incubator for 12 days, I finally rose from the dead. The first day of school, a young, completely introvert me was dropped off at my school campus. And we had a rule that our parents can't enter the campus. So my mom left me at the entrance and told me, just get into this bus, it's parked here all the time. One simple task, what could go wrong? School got over at 1 PM and so-called brave little Clayton was missing. It was now 4 PM and I still wasn't home. Some of my family was at my school firing the principal who gave my mom her word that nothing would happen to her beloved child, her beloved adorable fat child. My mom was crying because her brave son, who fought in an incubator for dear life, he has now vanished. No bus driver knew where I was. Finally, sometime after 4, one bus driver calls and says, I have a kid with me. The bus driver did not know that he got to spend the entire day with not just a random kid, a random bebe. He got to spend the entire day with the best kid of them all, me. I had my baby's day out moment. I somehow managed to get on the only bus that goes to the furthest part of Kuwait, hence why no one knew where I was. I can't speak of the adventures I had that day. My lawyer said I could get in trouble. When I was in kindergarten, I had immense confidence and I was entirely an extrovert. Once after our morning assembly, all I had to do was get on stage and say one word. How hard could it be? I went on stage full of confidence, looked at the crowd, looked at all these bimbos sitting in front of me, looked at all of my fellow teachers, all of my fellow companions and friends, waited for my 2 classmates who were standing on stage with me to say their word, then stood behind the mic for my turn, looked at the mic, looked at the crowd, and I froze. I went blank. It was an awkward silence for almost 5 minutes. But it felt like an eternity.
No! God, please, no! No!
I just froze. I couldn't move. I couldn't say anything.
No!
Since then, I have always had that immense stage fright in me. A few months later, I finally got my redemption arc. Fancy dress competition. I prepared for multiple weeks by hearting the same 8 lines, while all of my classmates were doing just 12 lines, the basic bitches. Some of you will call it overconfidence that they was only doing 5 lines and I was doing 8 lines. But I wanted redemption. This was my redemption. I had to show to all of the beautiful girls that I'm not just a chump who got on the stage and didn't know how to accept at the mic. Moving on. It was finally my turn in the fancy dress competition to show these fools how awesome I am. So I dressed up as a brinjal because it was a vegetable fancy dress, I believe, and it was the only costume that would fit fat me. Finally, it was my turn. All of my teachers were proud because they had seen me practicing the lines, rehearsing it multiple times. My parents recording behind the entire crowd. All of my friends looking at the stage as I, the chosen messiah, the chosen one, got onto stage, over-prepared, over-ready and entirely confident. What could go wrong? I went blank and froze again for the second time. My redemption arc was a fucking massacre. I did say the 8 lines. All I said for 8 times was, I am a brinjal. I am a brinjal. It's such a scarring moment that I remember the exact melody till date of how I said it on stage. As I was saying, I am a brinjal multiple times. The teacher that had so much expectation from me and was looking up to me having her name up in the sky walked onto stage fully disappointed and took me off the stage. When I was finally in my schooling years, I was very weak academically. I once got 4 out of 100 for math. My dad was, let's just say, not very proud. The exam had just started and I only answered the first MCQs and I left the examination hall in 10 minutes in full confidence. So much confidence that my classmates who were sitting behind me thought I would top because I just left so fast. I was very weak at Arabic. I always failed. For one exam, I think in second grade, I wrote a song on the Arabic paper and I drew a small tooth fairy next to the answer, hoping I would pass. I failed. In 5th grade for science, I went blank. So for the exam, I answered the big question with a whole para of why I didn't know the answer. In my defense, I was stupid and scared because I felt stupid that I couldn't study nor remember whatever I studied like my classmates and my friends. So I did always feel like I never belonged there. As I was answering exams, this is a kind of existential crisis that I'm having. The teacher read my plea while correcting the paper, obviously, told the entire school of my answer. Every teacher, every class was scolding me. It was honestly so embarrassing getting yelled at by everyone. All of the students were asking me, what did you do? To sum it up in simple terms, I was the kid from Tare Zameen Par. I resonate a lot with the young Ishan. I was very weak in understanding anything. I was extremely shy with no confidence. I was bullied by almost everyone because I was easy to pick on. Fat and shy, and I hardly spoke to anyone. Clearly the best guy to bully. This bullying led to me always feeling that I could only have one friend. Because I feel like if I made more friends, then I would be the butt of the group. It sounds like very depressed life, Clayton. I know it does. My dad is a sweetheart. He's always been a sweetheart. And my mom's kind of like tough love. So I never had the courage to tell them that I was feeling bullied at school, because dad would not be able to see his son getting bullied. And my mom would create a scene the very next day at the school saying, who the hell is bullying my young fatso? And then I would get more bullied the next day, or even if I didn't get bullied, I would feel embarrassed. So I did the best thing. I decided to leave quick. I wanted a fresh start somewhere no one knew me. No one would compare me to the old Clayton that has tarnished his reputation here. So I started putting the seed of thought into my parents' head, saying mostly every one of my friends is going abroad, one by one. And since I knew my dad always wanted to build a house back in his hometown in Goa, using all of these things in my arsenal and in my favor, over a span of a few months, I slowly put the seeds into their head that why we should leave the country, and I eventually convinced them and we all moved, and I finally left in 2011. Goa felt like a breath of fresh air. I was so excited for school. Meeting new people that don't know me. I can be the bully at last. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. I could not be the bully. I tried. I couldn't do it. During my 9th standard, a young creative me was watching a show, Top Gear, on BBC channel. And this young little introvert learned of something called as sarcasm from his favorite threesome, the Top Gear. This is when a new chapter in me had awoken. Around this time is when I also discovered YouTube and stand-up.
Yeah, boy.
I was so motivated and I knew I wanted to change myself. I wanted to become a presenter or a YouTuber or something as long as I could make people laugh and make a difference, like bring joy to people's world. One of the meanings of my name is actually a ray of happiness. I was so motivated, I knew I wanted to change myself. This is when I realized I wanted to make people laugh and brighten their mood with humor and good vibes. The way Kenny Sebastian through his stand-up did for me, or KSI with his weird little skits on YouTube, or Top Gear's unhinged humor would brighten my day. I started coping with the jokes from these guys and using it in my personal life. I slowly started copying all of the things I used to watch in stand-up or some of the jokes that I would see on these shows, and I started using it in my own circle. Slowly, introvert me was becoming an extrovert using copied jokes from the internet. It's so much easier to talk to someone when humor is there. Slowly, the next few years was just a young me becoming an extrovert and trying to be a comedian with confidence before I started my own YouTube. Around 11th standard, I was at a much better place at making jokes, understanding people, reading people's emotions. I was much more confident. I didn't get scared to talk to anyone, do anything. But I was insecure about only one thing, and that was my weight. And after a vacation to Kuwait, I came back to Goa with some weight, and some bitch, some Karen, I'm not gonna name her, told me that I am become fat as fuck. And that was it. That was the last fucking straw. I started working out twice a day at home. Every morning I started waking up early, 1 hour before college. I would do workout. Then after college I would come home walking. I even started working out in the evenings again. I started skipping all of my meals. I was mainly only on a diet of water and green tea. This is a little extreme. I do not condone doing any of this. This is not good for your body. This is not healthy, and this is not sustainable in the long run. I was just a young little teenager with a lot of adrenaline and adolescence and testosterone in my body, doing stupid stuff. In a month and a half, I think I went from being a completely fat kid to being looking like I had cancer. And I know this because one of the teachers after a lecture took me out, like we had a summer break. He took me out of the class and said, Clayton, is everything okay? You have cancer or something? And I was like, no. But because I did this extreme thing of trying to lose weight and trying to become skinny, just so that people perceive me as a little bit skinnier, I think it also all goes back to the days of when I was being bullied for being fat. I think I have body dysmorphia now because I'm never satisfied with how I look. Anyways, moving on. Fast forward to today, we are still going strong, still trying to prove and improve. We are still trying to improve basically. I still have so many goals and so many ideas that eventually I hope someday slowly can all be presented through my YouTube or through whatever I'm doing eventually. I've always felt like I've been destined for greatness. And there's so much I want to do before my time on this beautiful planet is over. Hopefully you guys get to witness it. No spoilers for now. As usual boys, thank you guys for watching. Do drink water if you haven't. Like, share, report, subscribe, and see you in the next one.